Quick question for everybody. Have you ever come home from a trip and just said, yeah, it was fine? Well, if that's ever happened to you, you're in the right place. Most people don't realize they're making the most important travel decisions way too late, and they're not thinking about how to make their trip absolutely incredible. I'm Frances. I'm a trusted travel advisor here with Stewart Travel Group, and I am obsessed with turning good trips into great ones. And welcome to Let's Talk Travel with Stewart Travel Group. The conversations we have on Let's Talk Travel are all about discovering travel that fits you and will create memories you'll love, because it was fine is not the goal. Tonight, I am joined by Hilary Arsenault, Global Purpose Specialist with G Adventures, and we're going to talk about National Geographic Journeys with G Adventures, what it's really like, who it's best for, and a few things that people might be a little bit surprised by. So if you have questions or thoughts, or if something makes you think, wait, is that for me? Drop that thought, drop those questions in the comments, and we will grab them as we go. So welcome, Hilary.
Thank you, Frances. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about purposeful travel.
I think it's going to be so fun. And thanks for being on our very first episode of this. We don't know how long these are going to run for, but we're really, really excited. So let's go get to know you a little bit. You, as the traveler behind, as our rep for G Adventures, you're actually a traveler. You're not just an office, desk jockey. You're someone who travels probably more than anyone I know. So what was the moment when you realized travel was your thing?
I've always traveled as a child, and I thank my parents, of course, for that, for kind of instilling it into me. I think one of my first international trips was I was 4 years old and we went to Italy, and we literally basically backpacked around Italy. So that's definitely where it started, nice and early. And from there, I've just always really wanted to learn about different cultures and getting to really know the destinations.
And you did travel through school, and then have been in travel sort of for your whole career too, right?
For the most part, yeah. So I did study it in travel and tourism. So that gives me a really great background. And then hospitality for a very short bit, but I found my true calling in travel and tourism. So awesome. Very happy about that one.
G for almost a decade, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've been at G for almost 9 years now. So to say almost a decade is a little bit scary. Where did the time go?
That's awesome. Okay. So I know you've traveled probably 20 times in the last year or two. You're always traveling in different ways. What kind of travel do you get irrationally excited about?
Oh man, the travel that you kind of don't expect, the one that really brings you into the destination, meeting the local people, having hands-on experiences. I always tell people you can get free labor out of me any day of the week, as long as you slap a label on it and call it an experience. So that's what I get excited about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so given that you've traveled so much, what were the last 3 places you visited?
Well, there's Fredericton, New Brunswick, Moncton, New Brunswick, and the entirety of PEI. And including the Canadian Potato Museum.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, so let's go international. Where were their last 3 G Adventures tours that you did?
So the last one that I did would have been in December, and that was our Japan, Kyoto, Tokyo, and the Michinoku Coastal Trail, which is part of our deluxe collection. Mm-hmm. Before that, we're looking at our New Zealand multi-sport North Island. And then before that, it was our GX Summit, which is our annual community tourism summit, which was held in Jordan last year.
Awesome. And this year it's just got moved from Morocco to Cambodia, which is so exciting. So exciting. I hope I can get there. So let's talk about National Geographic with Journeys with G Adventures. This has been a partnership that's been going on for 10 years. And, I've traveled with G a few times, and I actually leave tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., 10 hours from now. 10 hours and 1 minute, actually, to head to Bangkok for the Journeys Explore Northern Thailand. So National Geographic Journeys. It's a partnership that's been going on forever. Can you tell me where it started? And maybe just start there. How did G Adventures, this Canadian company, start working with National Geographic?
Yeah, so it was actually National Geographic who had reached out to us to create this collaboration, which of course we're really excited and happy about. So that was about 10 years ago. And the reason they reached out to G Adventures is because we had very similar ideals when it came to traveling, similar values of wanting to really support local communities that we visit, really be able to give back in a positive way and not leave any negative footprints. So it was kind of just like a match made in heaven for what they were looking for. And they needed someone to run their journey style of travels, and that was us.
And I want to dig in a little bit to this purposeful travel concept, because I've had experiences where I've been brought to places to do, voluntourism and good things, and it's fake and it's not true. But my experiences with G Adventures are completely different. And maybe I'll just start with a little story about my Morocco trip where we were in Morocco, and when you're traveling with G Adventures, you get to go to Planetara projects. Maybe, can you explain what Planetara is before I go on?
Yeah, absolutely. So Planetara is G Adventure's not-for-profit organization, which really helps set up projects around the world that will support women, Indigenous youth, and communities as a whole in destination. And these projects aren't just, we give them money and they figure it out. It's not that at all. It's we really work with them one-on-one to build something that they can then sustain themselves, to be able to make a living out of it, to be able to go on to further education, to really support their community and their families and so on.
And that's exactly what I saw. So we went to the AFAR cooperative, so l'Association des Femmes et des Enfants Ruraux. So this is a group of 9 women that have been working together, and they do a lunch program where G Adventures brings us as tourists to this lunch program, and we get this amazing lunch. We get to meet some of the women who are part of the program. But then we get to hear about what they've done. And they run the local ambulance service. They've done an adult literacy program. They've got a childcare program. There's about 10 other things that I cannot remember right now. But my jaw dropped when I found out about how beneficial this was. Dawn just said in the comments on Facebook, G for good. And absolutely, it is real community tourism that actually makes a difference, not fake, doing it for sales or anything like that. That is the opposite of what G's about.
And that's another great thing too, is that whenever we have tours in a country that we have a Planetara project, the tours actually visit that project to really have a whole experience around it. You get to learn about something they're doing, or you get to have a local meal, like you mentioned, or you get to do a cooking class with them. So it's really kind of hands-on experiences that you're seeing firsthand where your tourism dollars are going.
Yeah. So let's talk Nat Geo. Let's talk about National Geographic Journeys with G Adventures. Can you give me a typical day, or maybe like the kinds of things that would happen during a National Geographic Journeys tour?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a little bit more of an upgraded travel experience compared to some of our other travel styles. Not all of them now, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But compared to some of our travel styles, it is still a little bit more upgraded. So you have most of your meals included. So you'll wake up, you'll have a beautiful breakfast at the accommodation that you're staying at. Now, I do say accommodation because that can differ depending on where you are. It's still going to be very comfortable, clean, safe, but they might not necessarily always be hotels, which is kind of fun. And it really brings you that much closer to the culture that you're visiting. You will have an activity. So usually for our National Geographic, we have your journeys moment. And that's going to be an activity that we have included, but we don't have it on any of our other travel styles. So it's really kind of a special turn. So that could be anywhere from a lecture with a local expert, or really diving deep into a certain topic. So for National Geographic Journeys, it really has more of an educational twist to it, which is why it does bring a whole variety of travelers who are really looking to learn about a destination.
On my tour, I think it was a private group, but we were still, 32, 35, something like that, to 72. And I mean, most of us were in the 55 plus kind of age group, but it was still like we all got along because we were all like-minded travelers. And I think you'd see that even if it wasn't a private group. Like, this wasn't a group that was already set and we put out this itinerary and we all went. And the thing that resonated with everybody was the ability to give back and, the learning and the experiences that we had as part of the program. Can you talk about your CEO or your CEOs? Because New Adventures has multiple CEOs.
So CEO is a really fun G Adventures term, and it actually stands for Chief Experience Officer. So when Bruce had founded the company back in 1990, he decided he was not the most important person in the company. So he wanted to give his title away to the people who he thought which were our local guides taking care of our travelers in destination, because we understand that that's such an important and such a big task that he needed to give the title of CEO away to them. And that's where Chief Experience Officer was born. At first, it was a little bit rocky. People were really proud of their tour leader titles. But as time went on, it became more accepted. And we're actually at a point where people have a goal of being a CEO with G Adventures. So it's just really great to see that come full circle.
And a big shout out to Brahim. If you're watching, Brahim, I'm sending you this video. Brahim was our CEO on our Morocco trip. And he's from the High Atlas Mountains. So all of the CEOs are local, right, on all of your tours?
Yes, exactly. So if you're going to a tour to Morocco, you'll have a Moroccan CEO. If you're going to a tour to South Africa, you'll have a South African CEO, and so on.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, Brahim was just incredible. And these guides or these CEOs are, once to get to be a National Geographic CEO with G Adventures is a step up. You get extra training. You're really one of the exceptional people in the company that make these experiences so great. And I can tell you without a doubt, Brahim has been the best tour guide I've ever had. And so big shout out to him. He was incredible. Every moment he created for us, whether we were just stopping for a bathroom stop and tea. It wasn't just, a bathroom stop and tea. It was, we got to meet this amazing guy who ran the hotel, and the view on the deck that we were brought out to was, second to none. And, walking out of 8 Ben Haddou, we didn't just go back the same old way. We went back a new way, ended up in a carpet cooperative where, there are now Moroccan carpets in PEI because of that stop. We had tea with the women, and it was just incredible. So every moment is just great. So who are Nat Geo Journeys tours right for?
I would say it's really good for a whole bunch of different people, really just depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something very active, maybe not these ones, but we have another travel style for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But I would say, again, because it's really focused more on education and really getting the most out of the destination that you're visiting, I would say typically the people that book on it are 40s and above. Most ages are still welcome. But as long as you're comfortable with the activity level and the inclusions, you can be 98 and still be on the tour if, again, you're able to be. So it really is for a little bit of everyone, but I would say more of a mature traveler as well, because it does have that National Geographic name brand attached to it. So someone who's really eager to learn, who wants things maybe a little bit more upgraded, doesn't really want to go to standard accommodations, just wants to be a little bit more comfortable as well. And then, of course, wants that very good service, which you get on all of our tours, but you'll get it here too.
Yeah. And, I want to talk about accommodations a little bit, because one thing you'll know, or you will learn with G Adventures, is nobody really talks about the accommodations because they're all great. They are all locally owned, or at least 51% locally owned, but they aren't the star of the show. Where some other tours, your accommodations are really the highlight of your day. And that seems weird to me. Like, the highlight of your day should be the people you meet, the experiences you have, the places you get to see, not where you're laying your head at night. And, we had some incredible accommodations, both in Jordan when we were there. Yeah. I'll never forget the Old Village Inn in near Petra. Like, it was just this old fortress of buildings that had all been renovated into rooms. And so it was just the coolest spot. And then they added a pool and what have you. When I was in Morocco, we were literally, the hotel we were in Merzouga was literally the terrace ended and the Sahara Desert began. Like, not a foot, not no, it was like we were on the Sahara Desert. Like, it was just incredible. We stayed in a little spot in Tinkhir that was it was quirky, but the owner was amazing. The food was amazing. And that day, it was actually interesting. A few of our travelers had a little bit of a belly upset. And so we told Brahim, and he went over to the owner. They said something in Arabic. And the next thing we knew, the owner had brought out cumin, and they mixed it up just into a paste that you can drink, sort of that liquidy. And everyone had cumin, and it solved their belly problems. Like, it was known, it was a traditional fix, and they took care of us. So just the accommodations are great. What's a small detail you think people don't expect but they end up loving? And we may have talked about lots of those, but feel free.
I'm like, everything? Does that count? It's really fun because, and I've done so many of these tours. I think I've done about 40 or so already. So it's just kind of a really great experience when you are on tour. Something that people don't expect, how they're going to feel after the encounters that they have. Because again, after me being on so many tours, whenever I get email feedback from travelers or travel agents or anything like that, it's kind of like, it reminds me what it was like for my first time going on a G Adventures tour. Yeah. So they'll often say, of course, how amazing and incredible it is. But then I really like when they give personal stories like you just gave to all of us, right? So it's really the feeling that you get from being on a G tour, from having those local experiences, from knowing that you're giving back to the community simply by traveling. It's kind of killing two birds with one stone.
We don't kill birds at G Adventures.
No, no, that's against our animal welfare policy. But yeah, so I would probably definitely go with the feeling that you get of being on a tour. And it's just something that's not really explainable. I always try my best to explain it. And I'm just like, the words are missing. So I just urge everyone to definitely try one and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're planning these, people are going to, far-flung destinations. I'm heading off to Thailand tomorrow. I was in the Sahara Desert 3 months ago. You were in Japan. You've been in New Zealand. Like, we've been to, between us, all corners of the globe. We have to go to Antarctica together, and then we can knock that continent off.
I went in 2019.
But where do people get overwhelmed when they're traveling, and why does this kind of opportunity really make it easier for people?
It's interesting because I think that with travel, there is a lot that can be overwhelming. Like, even the planning process of it is overwhelming. And even if you narrow it down to G Adventures, then you go on the G Adventure site, and then it's just even more overwhelming because you don't necessarily know what to look for. We have 13 different travel styles. We travel to all 7 continents, over 100 countries. So what is right for you? So I think that part is overwhelming. And then even if you decide to kind of try and go to a different country and do it on your own, then you're always stressed out. You're like, oh, is this pickup going to arrive on time? Like, I booked a restaurant at this place. Oh, I didn't realize there was a time difference. I missed the reservation, or anything like that. I just feel like it could be very stressful if you are trying to do it on your own. So there's a lot of overwhelming factors in general.
Absolutely. And with when you're going with G Adventures, and especially not Geo, because you get articles about the place and you get a sense of the place a little bit before you go, but there's a bit of hand-holding to help you. And I don't mean that in like an overbearing way, but they will let you know all of the details, and they've taken care of, if you're booking, even your pre-hotel, right through from your arrival to your tour, to your post-hotel, if you book all of that through G Adventures, and your departure, it is all seamless. You don't have to worry about it. And your CEO is the thread that keeps all of that together. And you get great, pre-trip planning, packing lists, the amount you need for meals outside of what's offered, because they also like to let you go out and experience the local culture and the local restaurant scene. But yeah, like, there's a lot of prep that happens from your team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have tons of local offices around the world as well to really help support the destinations that we're visiting. Plus the CEO, again, star of the show. Whenever I have a problem and I'm on tour, I'm just like, hi, whoever the CEO is, please help. And they just take it completely off of my hands. So it's funny because it's like, they're not necessarily relaxing vacations because they are adventure travel. You're really on the go. You're getting to really learn the destination, but you at least don't have that added stress of trying to plan things or thinking of what to do that day. Or even on our tours, like you do have some activities included, some meals included, but we always make sure to have free time as well. So you can kind of make it what you want it to be during that free time. And that local guide, that CEO, will be able to tell you exactly what their recommendations are in the area, the do's and don'ts, the times, the places to eat, everything like that. So
a great example, I needed a bank machine when we were in, I wanted cash, and we went to one and my card wouldn't work for whatever reason. That happens. But our driver made a little stop so that I could go to the bank machine before we went to the market. And our CEO didn't just say, "Hey, there it is." Without me even realizing it, he got out of the van and was standing just far enough away to make sure if I had questions or, anything like that, or that I was safe, right? All of those things. He's always looking out for us. And it was just amazing. I went to another one just down the street. We were all standing outside the hotel. I was like not 100 yards away, but he came wandering down with me to make sure I was okay, right? So always felt taken care of, always, 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 always there with, the number of questions we had for him, the poor guy, like it was just question after question after question. But Raheem, kudos to you. You answered them all. And it was just, he was really, really good.
And because they're local guides, like they know the destination like the back of their hand, right? It's like if someone comes to your hometown and says, "Hey, where can I eat this specific dish?" Right? So
yeah. I just want to show you this comment. Sharon just commented on Facebook. She's heading on a Journeys trip to Costa Rica. You met her while you were here, actually. And she said you answered a whole bunch of her questions, which was great. So thank you, Sharon. We are so excited to have you joining a G Adventures tour, and particularly in that Geo tour. I think you're going to absolutely love it. So that's awesome. And so people can book these on their own, but you encourage people to book with a travel advisor. And so I'm a travel advisor. I can say, yeah, it's great, do it. But why would you say people should book with a travel advisor?
There's actually so many different reasons. And number one, why wouldn't you, right? So it's, again, taking more of the planning and organization off of your plate and leaving it with the professionals. So for us, the itineraries are sold as is. The international airfare is not included. The insurance isn't included, and insurance is mandatory. So if you do want to package all that together, it's really great to go to a travel advisor. But again, as I was mentioning earlier, we do have a whole lot on our website. So to narrow it down can be kind of hard. Again, go to the expert and see what they have to say, what they recommend for you. And then again, they'll be able to package together. If anything goes wrong with your flights or anything like that, you call your travel advisor and they take care of it for you. It's not like you have to spend 2 hours on hold with Air Canada or any other airline that you're using. It's going to be up to the travel advisor to really be able to help you. So they're kind of really step by step helping you along the way. And again, they all the information they need. So I always use the example of, if you are buying a new car, you go to see person at a car dealership. If you broke your leg, you're going to go to a doctor. If you have issues and you need a lawyer, you go to a lawyer. So when you're looking for travel, why aren't you going to a travel advisor? It just makes sense.
Such a good analogy. That's amazing. So we're gonna go through some quick takes here of, just bullet point things that we need people to know. So how do you figure out the best time of year to do a Nat Geo trip?
Whenever, all year round. It depends on the destination, of course. So different areas will have different offerings. So for example, Europe, we really only do those in the summer. We don't have many in the winter in Europe. Anything along the equator is good year round. We are the #1 tour operators in Peru. So if you want to go to Peru, January to December, always a great time to go. So I wouldn't say that there's one time in particular. It's just going to depend on the destination.
And that's something that your trusted travel advisor can work with G to find out too. We can send messages to Hilary at all hours of the night and find out when we should go. But that's something that we know as well. And many of us, between Brett, Julia, myself, we've all done G Adventures tours. So it's a great opportunity to lean on people who have hands-on experience in these destinations. trip length for Nat Geo? Are they all a week long, or tell me about that?
Yeah, so they can range between a week to 2 weeks, I would say. There are some that are a little bit longer in Southern Africa, about 3 weeks, and some in Asia as well that are about 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I would say for the majority, it'd be 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. Budget range. These are a little bit more expensive than like your Romies, which is a partnership with Hostel World, or your 18 to 30 somethings, because they are sort of a 3.5, 4-star accommodation, and with more inclusions, right? So they're a little bit higher, but budget range, do you have a sense of that, or is that just a really hard question?
It's a hard question because it's going to depend on, again, the destination, the length of the tour. So I would say it's anywhere from 1,500 to 12,000.
Okay. And I mean, one
person.
of the things, I would say, and I say this to all of my travelers, is make sure you're comparing apples to apples when you're looking at things. So you might be comparing a product that has, your accommodations and your breakfast included, but it includes 2 activities rather than activities every day. It's not guided versus being guided. You might have a driver guide instead of a guide and a driver. All of those kinds of things. So really, I implore you to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. And if you've got questions, that's where your trusted travel advisor comes in. Solos, couples, groups of friends.
Everyone. So if you are a solo traveler, there are 2 options. So the first option is you'll pay the same price as everyone else and we'll automatically pair you up with another solo traveler of the same gender for the rooming. Otherwise, if you are going as a couple, it's all twin or double accommodation. Same thing for friends. If you're 4 friends, then 2 per room type of thing. Otherwise, if anyone does want to have their own room and not be with whoever they're traveling with, they can still do the my own room option as well, which is a single supplement that you can add on. It's just not mandatory.
Yeah, I really like that. It gives people so much flexibility, which is great. Mobility considerations, what are we talking? Like, as long as you can do the activities, you can go, right?
Yeah, as long as you can do the activities, you can still walk. Keep in mind, some places are going to be uneven steps. Also, because it's mostly locally owned accommodations, there's likely not that many elevators available as well. So you should be able to do stairs and, of course, carry your suitcase from the lobby to your room pretty much and back down. So as long as you're comfortable and you're still able to walk, you're completely fine.
Awesome. So for anyone online, we're going to take some live questions. So if you do have questions, if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, put them in the comments and we will answer them. But before we do that, are you ready? It's rapid fire time. Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Checked bag or carry on?
Carry on.
Window or aisle seat?
Window.
Big cities, small towns?
Small town.
Small town and countryside?
Countryside.
I figured that's where that was going. I had to throw it in. One unforgettable place you didn't expect to love?
Oh, the thing is when I travel to places, I always expect to love them. So that is such a hard question. I absolutely loved Russia when I went, but again, that was in 2018. So we don't talk about that now. Mongolia was fantastic. I got to stay in a yurt overnight for a couple of nights with a local family next door. So that was such a cool experience.
Yeah. Would you rather do a guided experience or wandering on your own?
A bit of both. So guided, definitely, especially if I don't know the destination. But then having that free time to just kind of walk around and explore on my own and follow my senses. Like if music's playing in a corner, I'm going to walk to it. If I smell something delicious, I'm going to walk to it. So a really nice mix of both.
And the trip you still daydream about?
That's also a hard one. They're not really comparable. That's the thing. You already said compare apples to apples. None of these are similar.
Yeah.
I would say the Galapagos Islands definitely holds a special place. Just the wildlife encounters were incredible.
And so well managed too, when we're talking about like animal welfare and those kinds of things. That's not a place that you're exploiting animals to have wildlife experiences, right?
No, and G Adventures actually has a very strict animal welfare policy that Dr. Jane Goodall and the Jane Goodall Foundation had actually helped us create.
Mhm.
So we are not harming any animals on any of our tours. That's strictly against our policy. So anything that we are interacting or seeing animals or anything like that, it's all in their natural habitat, and it all follows the guidelines.
That's great. All right, so we've got one question, which is, what's your favorite part about working for G Adventures? Which is a great question.
It's the people I meet. It honestly, it really absolutely is. It's the people you meet along the way, whether it's travelers, whether it's trusted travel advisors, whether it's
Stanley at the Canadian
locals.
Museum.
I actually still talk about Stanley.
Oh, he's amazing.
Oh, we love the Canadian Potato Museum on PEI. But yeah, definitely the people you meet while traveling is the highlight.
That's great. Hilary, thank you so much for joining us. It was absolutely amazing to have you. We are really fortunate to have G Adventures as a partner, and we are going to have these episodes every few weeks. I'm going to say almost every Tuesday, unless I'm flying or traveling, which is why today is Monday and you're seeing this one happening today. And if our guests can't make it on a Tuesday, we might shift. So you'll find these on our website and on our YouTube channel. If you have questions about travel, travel with G Adventures, travel on a National Geographic Journeys experience, you can get a hold of us at itstime@stewarttravelgroup.ca or visit our website at stewarttravelgroup.ca. We look forward to planning your next trip with you. Thank you, Hilary, and can't wait to chat soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye now.